Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 sports podcast. We're here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. I'm with my good friend, Navy veteran, Arkansas Razorback, the clother himself, another successful clother classic in the books, North Carolina Military Veterans Charter Hall of Famer, William Wilson.
Yep.
I'm Kevin Casey. This is a super spectacular show. The 600s in the books. Kyle Larson, did he get a jacket, Will?
He did. And what a really nice guy. What a really nice guy. That was my first time actually meeting him. I'd seen him a few times, but never had a chance to really talk to him. This is a really good kid.
All right, we'll get into some NASCAR later on down the line. But first, the Carolina Panthers OTAs are continuing. There's rumors that I think I saw something this week that recently cut Gerald McCoy of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a highly paid guy, multiple Pro Bowl guy, was visiting with Panther officials. He's a defensive tackle. I think he'd be, if you can get him for the right price, a good complement to K'Wan Short, and it could really help the defense because if the corners don't have to cover long, meaning the pass rush is strong, you're really going to make the defense a lot better.
I agree. I mean, they definitely need, in this league, the way this league is going with the way, you can't really, you always got to play, tag football with the quarterbacks and all this type of stuff. The more guys you can come off the edge, they can really do some damage. That pass rush is going to be a premium, and the Panthers secondary still isn't the greatest. So if you get somebody that can put some pressure on that quarterback really early, take him out of what he wants to do, you can't put a price tag on that. And the Panthers struggle getting off the field as it is.
They haven't had. I don't think they've had a consistent pass rush since their Super Bowl year, and that was with a healthy Thomas Davis, healthy Luke Kuechly, healthy K'Wan Short, and some other guys. And you had a decent secondary at the time, not a top 20, maybe a top 15 secondary, but they didn't have to cover long because the pass rush and the defense, the front seven was so strong.
Exactly. They got credit for being much better than they actually were for that very reason that you said. So I think they can get somebody like a McCoy who he's gritty. He's not a dirty player.
He's like the guy you always say, get somebody who's done it, not a guy on a rookie who's a projection.
Don't draft on potential. Yeah, get a guy that you know what you got, he's going to get. He's been in the league for a while. He's not going to cost you too much money.
He might have an edge. He might have a chip because Tampa cut him. He went play to Clemson.
Yeah.
And he might say, look, man, I'm going to stay in the division, play on a grass field and, pretty good weather on a team that's maybe on the way up.
Yeah, exactly. So everything can work out in their favor. And again, he gives you some attitude because, Luke is a great guy. He's a great football player. He's a football player's player. But he's not that he doesn't scare you and that, and that attitude, that angry type guy. McCoy will give you that, hey, if I need to, yeah, exactly. Lawrence Taylor type guy.
Bill Romanowski. He's not dirty. He's clean. Exactly. He's like a great guy.
Yeah, but you also know that he's got a lot of attitude. There's a lot of that ferociousness is going to come with him.
But I've heard those things where they mic up the guys. Keek will talk some trash out on the field in the game. Mm-hmm. And, ask Brady and the Gronk and the Patriots. They know that guy, Luke's legit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no question. I mean, Luke is a football player. If you were going to design a football player, I can't think of too many things you would do different than Luke Kuechly. But I'm just talking about that attitude,
right.
that grit, that dirt, that 3 fingers in the dirt. Guys that put their fingers in the dirt are a different breed of guy.
He's not one of those dirty old Vontaze Burfict type guys that's going to hit you late or hit the pile, grab you.
No, not at all.
Give you the business.
Right, but you're gonna know you've been hit by him.
Oh yeah.
He's not an Ndamukong Suh that's gonna step on your helmet and all this type of stuff. But he's that guy that when you finish the game with him, you just played against him.
You can be in the whirlpool the next couple days.
Yeah, like you say in racing, he may not go over the edge, but he'll really play on the sides.
Right. Panthers have had you haven't heard of many holdouts, guys missing OTAs. They have a high participation rate. Why do you think is it respect for Coach Rivera, the organization paying guys? What do you think? Why are so many guys showing up for the quote voluntary OTAs?
Well, one thing, the Panthers don't have a whole lot of guys that are good enough to not show up. I mean, who do you got? Luke, Greg Olsen, Camp. There's only a few guys on the team that have that kind of cachet. They can throw that kind of attitude to not show up in the first place. And two, when you finish a record like the season like they did, you really don't have a whole lot of leverage. When you finish towards the bottom of your division, the bottom of the league, you got to show up and work. You have no ground leg to stand on.
No all NFL guys and very few Pro Bowlers.
Exactly. So you got to have, before you start having attitude and that swagger and that that type of whatever, you got to do something. You got to earn that.
Reggie used to say, "I hate the guys wearing shorts. You can't win any games wearing shorts." But why are the OTAs important? Is it because you're trying? And I think they are for Carolina. I'll answer the first part of your question. Let you respond. Installing a multiple set defense, meaning sometimes 3-4. So they've been a 4-3 team since John Fox got here. But now they've included some 3-4, and so they're going to be situational.
Right.
I see that being a reason for the defense to be there. But why, with the offense, with Norvell Turner running the offense and all these other guys, why are the OTAs important to you?
Well, you got to get guys back in mode. You got to get them back in football mode. You got to get them really thinking, truly focusing on football. You got to let them see these guys you brought in the offseason. You got to let them know, hey, you're not safe here. So you got to get their minds straight. You start seeing these guys, these free agent signings that they brought in, the guys that they drafted, you need to start getting them familiar, getting them comfortable so they know the guys. You start building some camaraderie, build some teamwork, do some team building things. They get to know each other. Those types of things, you need that. You need that chemistry. That you can never start building chemistry too early.
Now, conversely, how can you, they always used to say, well, Troy Aikman, since you're a Cowboys fan, unfortunately, Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin, they had chemistry because they worked out OTAs. They knew the patterns. They knew the 10 and out. The ball was in the air before Michael Irvin even made the cut. That was the timing and the repetitions together. How, as DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, McCaffrey, some of the other receivers, how are they going to develop the rapport if Cam's not throwing the ball?
Well, they may not develop that timing. Rapport and timing are two different things. You can develop a rapport. You can build a relationship. I never wrestled with you. You never raced with me, but we're still able to build a friendship.
Right.
So you can build that rapport and that relationship. The timing and those kind of things come later. But even then, if they're not practicing together physically, they can talk to each other. They can look at film together. Cam can watch what DJ Moore does and say, okay, look, Cam can learn what DJ Moore likes. Obviously DJ's not gonna learn anything from Cam. He's not throwing, but
right.
He can learn. He can sit and actually watch how DJ runs his routes, how Cam wants him to run his routes. He can come and say, "Hey, I see how you do this. I'm gonna need you to cut a little bit harder here. I'm gonna need you to plant that foot in the dirt a little bit more here. I'm gonna need you to give me one more step here. I'm gonna need this. I notice you have a tendency to do this. Now I know you have a tendency to do this. Or normally I would throw the ball here. Maybe I'll wait another half second because you may make a little jut before you cut." Those types of things you can learn.
Will, you and I were just sitting here, just you and me today. Nobody else is here, stirring up trouble. You and I get along great.
Exactly.
You always get on. Sometimes you tell me, all my friends say, man, you get on me all the time, but we're actually cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's Reggie's fault. And Mountaineer Mike's for stirring up so much heat between you and me. That's all I'm saying.
That could be. That just messes up the chemistry.
I think they do. But we love Reg, and he was a late scratch. Didn't pass pre-race inspection today, but he'll be back on the lead lap next week.
Right. And before we get too far into this, I want to make sure we didn't get a chance to do this last week.
Yeah, I want to send off Mountaineer Mike.
Yeah. Last week was Mike Freer's last on air. He moved down to Florida, got a job with the Golf Channel, so he's going to be down there working. We can already feel him not here now, and it feels kind of weird Freer not being here, not seeing him logged on to the show and those types of things. But we wish him the best down there in Florida.
He's one of the smartest guys in terms of, and that's what he was hired for. He's an excellent researcher. He worked for many years for ESPN, and he's not going into that similar capacity with the Golf Channel. The guy is extremely knowledgeable about a lot of things in the sports world and business. But he picked the Final Four, the eventual champion. There's a lot of things that he predicted that actually came true based on his own research. The guy's a knowledgeable guy, and it's our loss in the Golf Channel's gain to get Mountaineer Mike Freer.
Absolutely.
I don't have anybody to chastise West Virginia about anymore. So that's
true. They bring in
Will Greer.
They draft Will Greer, and he leaves.
All I know is there's Will, you're a business guy. Mm-hmm. If Will Greer gets in the game, you better buy some rooms to go stock because there's going to be a lot of couches getting burned from Charlotte to Morgantown.
Hey, maybe.
There you go.
We'll see.
Now, I hear you. Now, speaking of Will Greer, he's going to get a lot of reps in OTAs and in training camp. Lowenstein, what's his name? The other guy, the backups guy that they had, Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen,
Kyle. You and I like Kyle Allen.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
And Taylor Heineke. So all these guys, Cam's going to be there. He's going to be watching. He's going to be going through a lot of the stretching, and he's going to be doing a lot of the physical exercise, I guess, other than throwing. So he's going to see Moore and Samuel, McCaffrey, and all the other receivers in action. So he's going to be able to maybe mentor these younger guys, and maybe he's going to have a better grasp trying to teach Norvell Turner's offense side by side with Norvell Turner.
Well, I think that may work, but also you got to remember, too, Will Greer is a pure quarterback. He's a true quarterback. He's more quarterback than athlete. Not to say he's not athletic, but he's a true quarterback. Cam is an athlete that plays quarterback. Will Greer may get in there, and play well with these young guys, DJ Moore and these guys, and actually gel with them better.
A lot of people are saying, Will, what happens if Carolina starts off without Cam maybe not playing much in preseason, and then he maybe for whatever reason he gets hurt or gets knocked out of a game. Greer comes in and wins a few games in a row. Are the fans going to turn on Cam?
I don't know. I don't think the fans will necessarily turn on Cam, but here's what I think should happen. Plain and simple, what I think you do, you go with what wins. Bill Belichick then pulled Tom Brady once Drew Bledsoe was healthy.
Right.
He's like, we win it, we're going to keep winning. Now he's got 6 championships. So you go with the winning hand. I've never believed this whole nonsense of, you can't lose your job to injury. No, you don't lose your job to injury. You lose your job to winning. Because winning cures everything. If you're winning games and then you pull your guy out to be loyal to your other guy, you start losing, your fan base doesn't go, well, at least they stay loyal to the guy. They're going to go, no, put him back in.
All right, we're going to take winning cures all ails, is the old expression.
Exactly.
I'm with that. All right, we're going to take a break. And we do have a nice feature. I don't know if we're going to go out with this or come back with this, with Coach Rivera doing the Childhood Cancer Egg Challenge. So we're going to get with that and much, much more. We're here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. This is Talking About Sports.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast for sport.
Somebody said trade Kemba Walker, but no Leezy.
And No Limit Larry. I like No Limit Larry. I think No Limit Larry ought to get some playing time.
Wow. As Kemba goes, so go the Hornets. And that's how it was last night.
I've never wished Kevin would have won a bet more than I do right now.
Now, come on down to the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, Talking About Sports.
Best food around.
This is the Crack Cancer Challenge that supports the fundraising efforts of the Willie Strong Foundation in collaboration with Children's National Health System through our brain cancer awareness. I was challenged by Peter Schrager of Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. I've accepted it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-challenge, Sean McDermott, John Harbaugh, and Pat Shurmur to do the Crack Cancer Challenge. No, you come on, crack it off.
Just smash it on his head.
Oh, here we go.
I've been wanting to do this, coach, for 9 years.
I appreciate it. You got to get it.
I got to slam it. Well, I don't want to. Set the tone.
Thank you. That's even better.
My guy.
Oh, that's even better. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, welcome back to Talking About Sports. Great. Congratulations to Coach Ron Rivera. Not only is he, I think, one of the more senior coaches in the league in terms of tenure, respected in the locker room, and now, look at some of the things. He does a lot of things in the community. This Childhood Cancer Egg Challenge, raising awareness. Will, you do a lot of things. You don't toot your own horn or anything, but your Clother Classic raises awareness to combat domestic violence. It was another successful, sold-out tournament with, I think, a great element, this bowling tournament.
Yeah, the bowling went extremely well. If it would have done half as well as it did, I would have been happy. I was blown away. And everybody just had a great time, because the thing with bowling, like golf, even though we still have the golf element, if you can't golf well, you don't want to go out there. People who know they can't bowl.
I can't play golf, and I like going out there.
Yeah, but people who can't bowl know they can't bowl, but still will have a good time. Yeah. And people just had a blast. We had Miss North Carolina was out there.
Oh, yeah, I caught that. She brought the crown and everything.
Yeah, everybody did. I look down, I see all these guys at one end. I'm like, why is everybody around this one thing? Because of Miss North Carolina's down there, down there. I was
down with my end with John Luke and Derek James from WCCB and Colin Cole of the Panthers, and people were coming up to us, and it was great. And I just tell you this. The last 3 bowling balls I rolled were strikes. And the last 3 putts I've made in your golf tournament were all birdie putts. I'm red hot.
Man, we're going to start calling you the closer.
I'm like Kevin Harvick.
There you go, man.
And it's like, your boy Kevin Porter. He says, man, you swing, you're only going back halfway. I said, well, man, I got a bad shoulder. I got a bad back. And he says, you also got a bad swing.
Hey, I've been telling people forever. I said, Kevin got a heart this big and a swing that bad.
Wow.
That's just is what it is. That's my boy, though.
I don't know where he is lately, but I like what Coach Rivera is doing with this, and Mike Williams. By the way, big win, 11-0. Mike Williams, trained by Roy Jones Jr. Is that right? Is he a protege of Roy Jones? So he fought on the. You were there, Will. That the
I commentated my first ever time commentating a fight. And it was, and Mike set him up. Mike fooled all of us. Mike Jr. fooled all of us. Because the kid hit him, and he faked like he was hurt, caught him with a straight right, and then caught him with a left, and it was night-night.
The old playing possum, he kind of baited him to come in and lower his guard, and then boom.
I'll tell you, before then, this kid had an iron jaw. Mike was, this kid gave Mike everything on it. Mike would hit him full blow, and the kid was unfazed by it.
I'm going to tell you one thing.
But Mike set him up, and then, like I said, he faked that injury, hit him with a straight, caught him with a left, and it was all over.
Mike is trained well. He's got a good team around him.
He does.
Dad, Roy Jones, and they're bringing him along at the proper pace, not pushing him too far, too fast, maybe risking temptation of getting in some bigger fights because they want to develop him. Make sure when he does go national, he's ready. I've heard nothing but great things about him. I've seen him. This guy can fight, and I think he's going to be, along with the world-class gentlemen, are going to be 2 of the biggest names to come out of North Carolina in a long time.
Yeah, and he's still only 20 years old.
That's very young.
So he's still young, But when you get in, Mike Sr. has done a great job with him, keeping him humble, keeping him focused. And then when you have a Roy Jones, we have a Hall of Fame, multi-belt champion telling you something, especially at that young age, you can't help but listen. You can't not listen to him. It's like the Panthers having Norvell Turner, the Patriots having Bill Belichick. You get guys that come in that are known winners. How do you not listen to him? He's been where you're trying to go.
He's held so many belts. He's been the pound-for-pound greatest in all of boxing for many times, many years, many belts, many divisions.
Yeah, when he moved up, he gains weight and knocks people out, loses weight and knocks people out. I think the only place he didn't knock somebody out was the heavyweight championship.
That was down late in his career when he was older, but I think if that had happened earlier, he'd have been fine. But going back to the Panthers, I think they're going to need some knockout power, and I think it's going to come from Burns, the rookie from Florida State, the guy they'd like, could play some outside linebacker, some defensive end. I think he's the kind of guy that if you partner him with K'Wan Short and potentially Gerald McCoy, if they can reach some kind of an agreement, could really put some heat on opposing quarterbacks.
The Panthers have gotten to a place now with me, I never question their linebacker play. For over a decade, they've had great linebackers.
Going back to Dan Morgan.
Go back
John
to Sam Mills.
Sam Mills.
You go back, they've always had good linebacker play. Their linebacker coaching, I'm never worried about linebacker play. Their defensive line, when they get a couple of good players, they're always pretty solid.
Right.
The Panthers, year in and year out, if there's any place where they're weak, it's their secondary and their offensive line.
And the offensive line has been bad for a long time. Jordan Gross going into the Ring of Honor, legitimately so. You wouldn't recognize him if you saw him, unless you have seen him lately.
You wouldn't recognize if you saw him the season after he retired. He lost like 80 pounds.
He lost that in a couple of months.
Yeah. He almost looked like, when I first saw him, I was like, man, it looks like a skinny Jordan Gross. Then I realized it was Jordan Gross. I thought he'd gotten sick or got cancer or something. He lost so much weight so quick.
It's not right, but I saw the same thing. I remember the first time I saw him in the locker room, I was talking to Ryan Khalil, and he saw Jordan Gross and went, hold on, don't get too close. I don't want to catch what you got.
Yeah, it was amazing. But in talking with Jordan, he said he talked about how much he struggled to keep that kind of weight on.
He couldn't even get to 300, but he was close. But he had to eat so much, drink so many shakes, and pour so many calories in his body just to maintain being near 300 pounds.
Yeah, but look at Mike Rucker. Mike Rucker's like 245 now.
Rucker looks great, man.
Ruck looks amazing. Ruck looks like he could go play tight end right now.
wide receiver. He's so he's so
either
fit
one.
and thin, and then he bulked up to play NFL football.
Yeah.
But he does preseason TV, and I see him week after week in the locker rooms. He looks great. I mean, he really looks like he could still play right now.
Exactly, he does. Al Wallace was at the bowling tournament.
Al Wallace.
Al looks like he could lace him up, put 3 in the dirt. I mean, some of these guys, you get guys.
Colin Cole looked great.
Yeah, Colin. Yeah, same thing. It's weird though. Some guys look like they finish their career, they keep working out, they still look good. Then some of the guys that got out of their career, and you're like, you played linebacker, you look like a nose tackle.
I know, man.
It's either or.
I've seen some of those situations go off both ways. The guys get really fit, and the guys that really get skinny, like Jeff Saturday, played center in the NFL for the Colts, and he's just lost a lot of weight. Now,
oh, really?
We mentioned boxing a little earlier. I just wanted to mention this. Deontay Wilder knocked out a guy 2 weeks ago, Breesdale, first round, devastating. Well, this weekend, the guy who has, and Wilder's the WBC champ, undefeated, from Alabama. What's his name? Anthony Joshua. This is the guy who has like 4 or 5 belts. He's fighting his first fight in America is this weekend on pay-per-view. I think he's fighting in Madison Square Garden, and he has laid out the challenge to. He said that that Wilder has done his business, fought the mandatory challenger and won. And I think Wilder wants to fight somebody else, but Joshua says, "All right, I'm going to do my business this weekend, and we need to make this fight." And it's the fight that everyone wants, Wilder and Joshua. It's the fight that everyone wants, except the promoters cannot get together to get the dollars and cents right. That's one of the things that I think has hurt boxing over the years. They missed out when it was really hot. Mayweather and Pacquiao, they waited too long.
Lennox Tyson.
Yep.
All of them is they both get so greedy. It's like, look, you're gonna make a ton of money. You probably make enough money on this one fight to retire. Just put the fight together. But everyone's got to make a little bit more. There's always that one extra thing they got to add to it. Greed. The American standby.
I was working in Vegas in the mid '90s, and I remember covering.
You weren't with the Money Ranch, were you?
No, I was not.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
I wasn't hanging with Lamar Odom either. But I was just saying that covering a lot of fights. Riddick Bowe was big at the time. George Foreman was a champ. And I remember being in a press conference when Riddick Bowe beat, I think it was Jorge Luis Gonzalez, and being in the back, because there's, Tyson was in jail at the time. Mike Tyson was in jail, but he was coming out. It was soon, and it was like Holyfield was still like up, and he still had one version of the titles. And I just said, I said to Rock Newman, name you remember. I said, well, how about can one of these guys? Do you really believe in yourself? I know that everyone's got to get paid. They have camps. I said, how about let's just go $50 million, winner take all. Are you bad enough to back that up?
Yeah, but no one
minus expenses.
Yeah, but no one's gonna take a fight on like that, and I wouldn't take a fight on like that because you don't want to end up Calvin Brock. You fought Klitschko, but you got your retina torn and your career's done.
He got a lot of money, but Calvin's a smart guy, makes a lot of good decisions.
I'm just saying, but
you're right.
You don't want to take a winner take all. If you take $50 million, you take 30, I take 20.
Right.
Or winner take.
Who's the draw?
Winner take 30.
Who
loser
sells
take
more
20.
pay-per-views? And that's the thing, which I don't know. But anyway, all right, we're gonna take a break. We got some Charlotte Hornets off season. A lot of people coming in to work out. We're here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill. This is Talking About Sports. All right, welcome back to Talking About Sports. With William Wilson, I'm Kevin Casey. We're just we love racing, but we're gonna we'll get to there in a minute. But NBA, about what it seemed like about an hour after we went off the air last week, the all NBA teams were announced. First, second, and third team. Kemba Walker made one and made himself eligible for
a max
one of those
contract.
super max contracts, meaning 5 years and more than $200 million, and he's somewhere between $220 and $240. But that's the good news. The bad news is you got to convince your local team, meaning the Charlotte Hornets, to pay you. And I think I've read somewhere that they said they're not going to pay it.
I wouldn't.
But you're not the only one that is saying that.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay that because you're already with the money you're paying him now, and some other bad contracts too.
Nick Batum.
So, yes. What's the point of getting rid of Nick Batum's contract if
You
Kemba's
can't find
contract?
anybody. You can't find a sucker for it.
Well, the thing is, let's say you do.
Okay.
But Kemba's contract is going to pretty much be the same thing
In a couple of years.
Well, yeah, because he's going to get so much money. What you save and get rid of Batum's contract, you basically taking that money and putting it into Kemba's contract. So now you got one less player, but the same amount of money that you're putting out.
Right.
And Kemba's not, this is nothing against Kemba's ability. So please don't think it's a dig at Kemba. But if you're not winning championships, not going deep to the playoffs with him, paying him more money to be able to get less players around him is only going to benefit Kemba and Kemba alone.
There's a lot of destinations that he could go to and be in. He could be like the last chip that puts a team over the top. New York. I think if Kyrie Irving walks out of Boston, which I think he is, Kemba would be great with the Celtics with all those guys they got.
Yep.
Dallas Mavericks with Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. Kemba Walker would be great with those guys.
I want to say I agree. Here's why I say I don't know. I don't know that Kemba is a player that makes the people around him better. And all the time Kemba's been in this team, you've never heard the phrase Kemba makes his players better. He doesn't get the guys involved. I've been to 3 or 4 games where the teams play better cohesively as a team with Kemba off the court than with him on the court.
You and Kevin Tolbert talk about this before you got here because that's exactly what he was saying. He says, well, they play better. There's more space on the floor. He gets his 35 a game and without getting 10 assists, and the other guys are standing around like Frank the Tank and Batum and Marvin Williams.
They're
just standing
watching
around.
the game. Yeah. So that's my thing. Get somebody on there. Dump some of these contracts that you can dump, and if you got to eat a little bit, eat a little bit. But I don't think you're going to eat as much as you think you are because some of these guys that's on the court will play better together. They can learn to gel. They'll learn to trust each other because they're not worried about being pulled the first time they miss 2 jump shots in a row.
Malik Monk, your squirrel hunting buddy from Arkansas.
Yeah. Malik Monk, any of these guys, Jeremy Bridges, any of these guys, they can gel, grow together.
You mentioned the cap. Even if they renounce Kemba Walker, let him go with no compensation, Jeremy Lamb renounces rights, no compensation, they're still up against, they're very close to the cap. So you really are going to be restricted and limited unless you can find a sucker for maybe a Cody Zeller, a Marvin Williams, some of those bad contracts, and maybe get some other assets for – I still think you have to be real bad to be real good. And I think Kevin Tolbert says they're going to playoff team next year. I say they're lucky to win 20 games next year. They're going to be in the top 5. They're going to maybe the worst record in the league next year.
Well, the thing is, it's not hard to be a playoff team to get this squeaky in 8th.
And what does that get you? 1 home game and a Laurel and Hardy handshake and you're out.
Exactly. So, but you're still a playoff team. All that does is make sure that you get you're drafting late in the first round. That's all that does for you. There's no benefit to consistently finishing in 8th, maybe 7th.
We haven't seen but 1 draft from Mitch Kupchak, and they traded away a guy who made the All-NBA rookie second team, Shea, whatever the guy from Kentucky. So they traded away the guy. They thought Bridges was better, but this year it wasn't. They picked the wrong guy. But only 1 draft in the books for Kupchak. He's no R.C. Buford of the Spurs. They historically draft in the 20s every year and find gold outside of the years they had David Robinson and Tim Duncan. But they pick guys like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard in the teens and 20s. So if you're Charlotte, you've got to get some of those guys. If you think this is a deep draft, guys who've already been in, Bruno Fernando of Maryland, who I think we have some video footage of Bruno Maryland. Can we go to that, KT? We got that footage available?
They probably should have gave him a little bit more notice.
I said Reggie Perry from Mississippi State. Josh Reeves of Penn State, one of Reggie's guys. LeGerald Vick from Kansas. Rashad Sabaz of App State. I mean, they're bringing in. It's a long list. DeJuan Hernandez out of Miami. Kenny Williams from North Carolina. I think you can get some of those guys down in the draft. And maybe somebody wants one of these other guys at pick 12, but they'll give you 20 and 25. I think that may be a good dude. That's like in the NFL. You know how they trade down.
Yeah.
I think trading down and trading away a guy for future assets, future number ones or future seconds, cap relief. You want this guy? We'll trade this, but you got to take Cody Zeller.
Yeah, and a guy that I literally had lunch with yesterday. He's been in the league for a while. Alexis Ajinka.
Okay.
We had lunch yesterday.
All right, let's. We got some footage of Bruno Fernando of Maryland.
I'm enjoying a lot. It's something that I've looked forward to since a very young age, to be able to be in this position today. So for me, energy is something that I have just, within me. I think because, my passion and love for the game already comes with it. And for me to be able to come to any workout and, being able to work out with guys that I don't even know before and just keep bringing the energy and positive energy and talking to them and talk all the time is something that I do and I've been doing my whole life. So, just my everything, just my game, my personality, my character, the person who I am. And, when I say about my game and my skills, it's just my ability to shoot the ball, put the ball on the floor, space the floor, and just a lot of things that I wasn't really able to show throughout the year during the season in college. So I think, just doing those little things and obviously, not forgetting the things that got me to this point should just keep that, being that energetic player, enthusiasm, bringing positive energy on the court every time. I think I can add a lot of things to my game to help translate to the next level. I think I already got a lot of things that can translate right away. Just my rebounding ability, rim running ability to defend and guard screens and switch on guards. I think I'm just something that I can use in the NBA right away. But I think, just my ability, like I said, to space the floor and, shoot threes and be able to do that, shoot mid-range shots and just playing with energy every time. I think really I have the ability to do that at a high level. I think, I'm a lot better at that than my numbers show in college. I just feel like, at Maryland, I had to do so much for my team, and it was a priority for me to keep me on the floor. And just, sometimes I'm playing super aggressive, and, I can't go for silly fouls and stuff like that. So I think that was more so for me an opportunity to stay on the court and help my team win games.
All right, now, great feature on Bruno Fernando. Now, you had lunch with Alex Ajankas, the guy who played with the Toronto, the Pelicans, a few teams. Mm-hmm. He lives in Charlotte.
Yeah, he lives here.
Like he could be a benefit to a guy with something who had some injuries, has something to prove. You might be able to get him for veteran minimum for 1 year. If he has a great year, then you either pay him more or he's marketed himself to get a raise somewhere else.
Yeah, it's possible. Now, let me say this. We didn't talk about this part of it. We didn't talk about any money stuff. We didn't talk about any of those types of things. So I don't want you guys thinking, hey, him and William talk. No, we didn't talk about contract, any of that type of stuff. We talked about a bunch of other stuff because we're friends. But I'm just saying, but he's here. The Hornets need a big man. They need some veteran leadership. The Hornets drafted him, actually. So he's familiar with this area. So why not take a shot at him instead of going for one of these guys? These draft means at the end of the day,
college guy.
Draft picks means unproven.
All right.
It's all potential. Here's a guy that you know what you got. Give him a shot.
You don't have to fly him in. He can drive here.
Yeah, he already knows that. He's familiar with all of it.
You mentioned suit, some nice clothes for him.
We'll see.
All right. That's undisclosed. No confirming or denying.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that's good.
I'm like Mueller.
Boy, there was I don't know. It depends on who you ask, but I tell you, I think Kenny Williams, the guy from North Carolina, I think is good. How about you got Tukey Brown from Georgia Southern? I mean, you're talking a level of competition is, How about there was a guy, I can't remember his name. He was a guy that got recruited by Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, had offers from everyone. He said, you know what, I'm going to go play in the Australian Pro League next year and make money. I think he got guaranteed how many money he's going to play for the New Zealand team in that league, and he's going to get a few mil to get money he said, I'm going to work and play with professionals like Luka Doncic, who's a friend of his. He played in the European Pro Leagues and played against men in their 20s and got some lessons on and off the court about how to play with bigger men, professionals that he may not get playing at Duke or North Carolina next year.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, when you just, even if you just look at it, if I'm only going to play for a year, if I go to Duke, Kentucky, any of the blue chip one and done universities,
right?
Unless you're just a Zion Williamson type level player, odds are you're going to drop in status more than you're going to raise up in status. So, but if you go over here, so you may lose $3 or $4 million being at Duke for a year, or you may get hurt. You may blow a knee out, get a Sebastian Telfair situation, or you can go overseas and play basketball and make you a couple of million, keep your draft status up, move over here, get drafted where you would have gotten drafted. Or if you don't, you still got a couple million in the bank.
A buddy of mine in the newsroom today brought up Sebastian Telfair's name because he brought a loaded gun onto a plane once, but that was another story. But NBA Finals are this week. We're going to talk NBA Finals. We got to take a break here, but we're going to talk about where's Anthony Davis going to play, and the NBA Finals. Steph Curry and the Warriors against Benedict, Kawhi, the Trader Leonard. We got that and much, much more here on Talking About Sports.
All that hatred.
All right, welcome back to Talking About Sports here at the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill with William Wilson. And we were talking right before we went to the break about Anthony Davis. He has been on record saying he wants to be traded away from New Orleans. And Shelby's own Alvin Gentry, great basketball coach, good man, turned me on to Bridges Barbecue out in Shelby, by the way. Mm-hmm. And the new guy, the new basketball operations guy, the former GM in Cleveland, is now the basketball decision maker in New Orleans, whose name escapes me briefly. They say that when it's all said and done, when they get Zion Williamson in, he's going to be fine. He's going to stay. But he has said he's not committed. He hasn't said he's staying. Where is he going to play? Is he going to want to?
If I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to do the same thing you said about Kemba earlier. I've proven what type of player I am. My reputation, my legacy is cemented. Now, and I'm getting later in my career. I may have legitimately another 5 years left. I'm going to go somewhere where I can potentially get a ring. I want to get a ring. I may have some Hall of Fame numbers questionably already now, but give me a ring or two, and I could play somewhere where I don't have to be the main guy every play on both ends of the court. Now I can pad my numbers possibly, because the NBA Hall of Fame is such a trash Hall of Fame anyway that they could probably get into it pretty easy. All I got to do is be popular. Grant Hill. But so when I look at all this, I put all this together. That's where I'm going, because the Pelicans have no bench. They have no depth. Even if Anthony Davis stays, they got a great point guard already, and you got Zion Williamson, who possibly could be great or may not. Who knows? They got no depth. Once those guys are gone, and one of those guys gets hurt, Anthony Davis is going, why am I here?
I still like the fact that the GM there used to be the GM with Cleveland and LeBron. And he says he has a good rapport with who's LeBron's agent, Rich Paul? Is that his name?
I don't remember.
But anyway, you could get some assets, Ingram, Kuzma, Hart, Ball, those guys, and you suddenly, guess what? You got a bench now. If you let Davis go and you save some money, have more rookie contract.
Exactly. I as a business person, I always have options. Give me the most amount of options that I can use. I don't want all my eggs in one basket. If Anthony Davis is still there, you limit the kind of potential you can get. Give me 3 or 4 guys that can get me 4 or 5 minutes here. This guy gives me 6 or 7 minutes. This guy gives me 8 minutes and 6 points. This guy gives me 7 minutes and 3 points. This guy gives me this. Now I've replaced Anthony Davis's numbers, but I may have a better defensive player. I may have a better point guard. I may have a better field general. Who knows what I may have, but I just like having the numbers.
Anthony Davis may be good, but I would take the package of younger guys with more upside, because you know what he's good, and he's good, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have the younger guys and maybe a couple of number ones to build for the future. Now, guys,
Anthony Davis or the field, give me the field.
I'll take that. I'll take the field. How about, speaking of the field, the guys who are in the final start tonight? The heavily favored Golden State Warriors and the upstart Toronto Raptors. I don't like Kawhi Leonard. I think he's a traitor. He's a faker. He faked injury to get out and force a trade to Toronto. But being that what it is, he's got his team with, I think, a bunch of jabronis in the finals.
Yeah, but it's gonna be some really, really big lights. We've seen Golden State beat much better teams very quickly.
But Kawhi Leonard has been to the finals. He's been a finals MVP court with the Spurs and a better team. But still, he's got a young, quote, hungry Kyle Lowry, Siakam, Marc Gasol, some guys, some veteran guys that have been in the playoffs. I just think that one of the other guys in the newsroom today is like, oh, it's going to be a 7-game. I said, I don't think so. I think Golden State's going to sweep them. Maybe if they get one game at home, Drake can rub the coach up a little bit and maybe get one at home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see this going far. I mean, they maybe steal home court for a game because KD's not playing, if I remember
That's
right.
the thing. He's out for game 1. Cousins is questionable. Maybe a game time decision.
Yeah, but then if you take out KD, put Cousins in, you still may lose that game. Because Cousins you don't lose a whole lot. KD, for everybody keeps talking about Golden State won 2 championships without KD.
Right.
So it's not like they need him to win. He's not an integral part of their success. If KD leaves, they're going to still be perennial favorites.
They still have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry.
They're
Now,
still an all-star game.
I guess if you're Toronto, you're going to put Kawhi Leonard, your best defender, on Steph Curry.
Yeah, and that's nice, but then who stops the other 3 guys?
But conversely, they're going to put Draymond Green on Kawhi Leonard, who you're 2 of the best defenders in the league. But it's like, well, we're not going to get met with the firing squad, but we still got to watch out for the gas chamber and the electric chair.
And get hit by a bus walking across the street blindfolded. I think when you just look at it overall, I think just the honesty is, I think Portland is just not Portland. Toronto is overmatched.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I think if there's anything, Toronto has, I keep saying that. They have no pressure.
Right.
They're expected to get drug out the gym. So some of these guys may play loose. They may be like, look, they may have a chip on their shoulder. They may say, look, I can look you in the face. Yeah, Steph Curry may get his 30, but the rest of you guys ain't going to score these points. And Big Mo, it's hard to hide Big Mo. If you can steal one in California, go back home, ride the momentum, pick up you another one.
A rabid fan base in Toronto that's never had a finals in Canadian soil.
Exactly. So when you try and do something like this, miracles can happen. Now the problem would be when it comes to close out. Because we saw OKC do this.
Right.
OKC, it was great. Then when the time came to close, they couldn't close.
They tightened up.
Exactly.
In the wrong way.
The moment was too big for Kevin Durant. The moment was too big for Russell Westbrook. The moment was too big for those guys. The lights came on. All they had to do, and they had every chance to win it, but the moment was too big for them.
How'd you like to be Oklahoma City that had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden on one team? How'd you like to be them right now? I mean, you're thinking, what did we do?
Yeah, and they had it. The moment's too big.
Toronto 2-0 in the season series. I mean, I discount the regular season because you don't know what guys were resting, what guys were taking the night off, what guys went out and partied the night before, or you're saving your guys for the next 2 games.
Yeah, and you Golden State. You're not worried about it. The regular season is just a formality to you. You're like, okay, how many games do I need to win to get home court? Okay, as long as we get this many games, we're not worried about anything else. They've already got the record for the most wins in the season. They have nothing to prove in the regular season.
2-0 in the regular season, but you know what? How many finals have you won? And when was the last time? The answer is 0-0.
Exactly. Well, they won the Eastern Conference Finals.
Very good series.
So they got that. And again, that's maybe work for them too because they played some long series. They played some games where they've built some confidence. They've got some momentum. They've got some confidence. They may be feeling themselves a little bit. Like I said, if they can walk in and steal that first game, it may be more of a series than you think, but I still think Golden State's going to take it.
All right, prediction, Golden State and how many?
Golden State in 5.
I was thinking 5, but I'll say sweep. Golden State, sweep. Kawhi, you'll get nothing like it. Racing, Kyle Larson wins the 600. Kawhi Leonard, he's probably going to go to Los Angeles. I don't care. He's a traitor. All right, that's enough of that. Racing, Kyle Larson wins a very good race. My favorite race of the year, the Coke 600. You're there as always.
No, Martin Truex won the Coke 600. Kyle Larson won the All-Star race.
That's what I meant. But Larson, and that car was banged up.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in a pack of guys, and he's a veteran. You talk about we talked about it last week. Who's going to be the veteran closer? It was. I was thinking it was going to be between Truex, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick, and Kyle Busch.
Well, you played. Kyle Larson pulled a move on that restart. He threaded the needle. His car had a lot of horsepower, and he had a short run car, so it was already set to go fast early anyway. So he just made a move. He threaded the needle. He made some moves that most guys would never even try to make because you're going to wreck your car. Mm-hmm. The car stuck. He could put that car anywhere he wanted to. And when NASCAR, when they at the track, they had that I forgot what they call it, the adhesive stuff for the track. They put it in the middle of the groove. So you had a lot more mobility, and Kyle Larson just made a couple of moves. He already had a fast race car.
He's one of the few guys that almost week in and week out he runs near the fence at the top of the track.
Yeah, he's like high groove Harry Gant, running high, wide, and handsome. He's going to take it up to the edge, and sometimes it works. Now, the 600, it didn't work for him so well. It didn't work out so well.
But Truex's car got banged up, and he came back. That car was not clean. I mean, it wasn't aerodynamic. He took some, he got into some bumping, but he found a way to get out front late. And you mentioned it before. The restarts were the key thing. He got a late restart, got a push, and he got out front. And the clean air was his best friend.
Right. And I think this new package worked out for him.
Right.
This new package worked because they're running less horsepower. And they asked one of the drivers. I was listening to one of the broadcasts. They said, "How are you able to run the car so much better?" They said, "We're running at a speed where we can control the car." Before they run at speed, sometimes it was so fast they really couldn't control the car. Now with less horsepower, they're able to control the car better. They can maneuver the cars better. And they just made some moves that were just amazing moves.
What did Bill Elliott run Talladega, like 217 or something like that? That was
it was insane.
My God, that's fast. But that was pre-restrictor plates. And they don't, I think what I've been told, Will, you know more about it than me, being on a pit crew champion. It's not so much they care about how fast the cars go. They just don't want cars going through the fence and into the crowd.
Well, I think it comes down to two things. I think it's the safety issues, one part of it. I think it's the insurance. How much it costs? It costs more to insure a car that sustains speeds over 200 miles an hour than one that doesn't. Because you can peak at 200 miles an hour, but when you look at the average race speed, you're looking at an average lap, you're looking at 183, 184. Because you may get up to 200, 201, but then you break all the way back down to 140 going into the turns. So your average speed actually ends up being under 200 miles an hour.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the longest straightaway is this weekend, and you have some very fast times at Pocono. I don't like that track.
Yeah, Long Pond stretch.
That's a long stretch, and you can see some like 4, 5 wide out there on that big straightaway they have. And I think last year, Bubba Wallace cut a tire and went into the turn 1 into the fence, and that was scary.
He went in hard. He went really, really hard. I was worried about him. But that is, though, Long Pond stretch. Pocono is one of my favorite tracks. I love Pocono because you have to set the car up. You got to manage 3 distinct corners.
Different.
Yeah, that's what I said. Distinct means different. Congratulations for your vocabulary lesson for today.
Thank you.
You've got
Mr. Razorback Pig Suey.
Are you setting your car up to come down to come off turn? I think that's turn. It goes 1, 2, 3 this way. So I think are you setting up to come on 1 and get in through 2 well? Or are you setting up to go to the 2 short stretches? Because we used to run a 323 gear.
What do they call that? The tunnel turn and the short shoot. Some things of that nature.
Yeah, and then you got Long Pond stretch.
Yeah, man.
So what 2 turns are you setting your car up to work best in?
And Pocono has produced first-time winners a lot over the years. Denny Hamlin, I think, won his first race. I mean, there's been Tim Richmond, Pearson. If you go back to some legendary names, this is a. I don't like the track per se, but I think you should have 1. But next year they're going to get 2 races in the 1 weekend. That's going to be
insane.
I'm all for that. Who do you like at Pocono this week? I mean, Denny Hamlin is tough to beat at Pocono. Keselowski, Logano, they're all tough to beat at Pocono.
See, the problem is we ask this every week, and it's like, which one of the big 4 are we going to pick this week? It's going to be somebody like Stuart Haas. If I'm going to take a wild guess, who I'm always going to want to pull off. I want to get his win. I want Kurt to get the win.
There, I think, right? Kurt's won at Pocono.
I want Kurt to get his win. He needs to get a win to secure his space in the chase,
right,
or in the playoffs. But it may be Amendola. Amarola.
Right.
Eric Amarola. He's been running really well.
He and Clint Boyer, they're both the Stuart Haas, right?
Yep.
They are the 2 guys from Stuart Haas that they're always in the top 10. They get leads. They can lead a few laps, but they for whatever reason late they get caught up in someone else's trash.
Exactly. They're both due. So I can see Amarola. I can see.
I like Clint Boyer.
Yeah. Either one of them.
He's not afraid to fight, as we found out.
Oh, no, don't spin him. You spin him, you'll get a 2-piece.
Yeah. Is there a guy? And let's just discount Gibbs, Hendrick, Stuart Haas, that group. What is the guy most likely not in the big teams? Who's the guy that could surprise?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been running pretty decent.
He wrecks almost every week, I think.
Yeah.
But he's won big tracks though. He wins.
Yes.
He's won before.
I think Bubba Wallace and Bubba.
I was thinking Bubba.
I think Bubba can, because they're finding some speed at RPM. They just need a better partnership. I don't know who their partnership is with, but they need a better partnership or spend some more money on a little more horsepower. or try to way to buy some luck because Bubba's run really well. He finished 5th in the All-Star race after having to race himself in.
And did.
Ran really well. Was running really well in Charlotte.
Right.
Got caught up. And again, I think Bubba consistently has a top 5, top 10 piece he's putting in the race every week.
He can drive.
He just
needs better cars. And if you're Richard Petty, man, can you call like Amazon? They got plenty of money. Get Amazon to dump some money in the team.
Mm-hmm. But you can have all the money in the world, but you got to have the alliances. All the money in the world, you got to team with those right guys and hope go to team because I think they're running.
Who gets their
Fords,
they're
right?
Ford? So they're getting stuff from what Stuart Haas? Is that where they're getting their Fords from?
Probably.
Or Penske.
Yeah, or probably Penske.
Because Penske and Stuart Haas run Fords. Hendrick runs the Chevys. And Gibbs runs the Toyotas.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think he needs to change to a different program. I don't really care a lot for the Ford program.
Ganassi and Felix Sabatis run the They run Chevys, right?
Yeah, they're running Chevys.
All right, we're getting ready. We're getting wrapped up. This time for a final break or a final thought. What are we doing? Go to break? All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with more talking about sports from the Deal with Neighborhood.
More NASCAR!
All right, welcome back to Talking About Sports. We're here at the Deal with Neighborhood Grill with William Wilson. I'm Kevin Casey, and I hate Pocono, and I hate New Hampshire. I hate those tracks, and I want more races, and I want longer races.
I don't want shorter races. These races are way too long. The people have spoken. As you can look now, the fans they were decent.
People who don't like long races have short attention spans.
Right. Well, welcome to America. The elevator speech used to be a minute, went to 30 seconds. Now it's 8.5. So that's where we are now. People don't want to spend all day long.
Only thing good are short pit stops
long.
that you're thankful for.
Yeah, I do. I love it. A good short pit stop is always good. That's how you win races.
I heard a rumor since I saw some rare video of you in some championship. Was it Ted Musgrave in the 15 truck? Was that
no the one truck?
The one truck. You're on the jack and you're getting in it and moving. You're running around.
Yeah.
You got this suit on and you look. You were keto and NASCAR.
That's how I got this ring, baby.
And so rumor is you're getting a replica suit made.
Yep,
fire suit.
Yep, I contacted Impact Racing because at the time when I was in it, I really didn't realize the magnitude of what I was doing. I didn't realize I was the first to do what I was doing. I didn't realize any of this. And when I done, I was just done.
And I know you're modest and you don't like patting yourself on the back, but you were a groundbreaker. You're a pioneer. Not many brothers were out in NASCAR when you were coming out, especially on the pits.
No, it was just me. My first 2 seasons, it was just me. But I was able to find out they're actually going to be able to replicate my suit, and I could actually buy another suit. I can hang it up in my shop.
Can you get a John Force replica suit with smell and all?
Probably not, but if you could, I wouldn't want to pay that money for it.
I know. And props to a guy who was at the Clother Classic, our guy.
Bill Lester.
I love Bill.
Yeah.
We had a difference of opinion about the deal with Boyer and Newman. He was against you and I. He was taking Newman's side.
How?
I don't know. He was like, oh man, it takes a man to come out with a helmet on. I'm like, come on, man.
No, but it wouldn't matter.
But I love Bill Lester.
The fact that Clint had his helmet on had no difference to do it because he was in the car.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like Ryan could have hit him anyway. That's just a stupid statement. Now, if somebody wants to say, well, wait till he gets out of the car, okay, fine. You can make that statement maybe. But the fact he had a helmet on is different. But it also takes, if Ryan wants to have a beef with him, because we're going to say this, here's my counter to that, then Ryan should have waited till he got out of the car to challenge him.
He was trying to get out, but Clinton was giving him the left.
No. I mean, Ryan should have waited till Clint was out of the car and approached him like a man instead of spinning his car on the track.
That's costing people, owners of teams, guys in the shop who work hours at the shop
exactly
to fab that car to where it's race conditioning.
And now they got to fix this car. They're going to take this car apart, fixing it. You add extra work to a bunch of people who had nothing to do with what's going on. It's the Bush League move. If you want to take something, look him in the face and say, hey, I don't like what you did. Walk up to him, punch him, grab him, what you going to do, but don't make work harder for everyone.
That's my kind of racing. Allison Brothers, Cale Yarborough.
Yeah, because Clint's not going to fix that car. Clint's not going to touch that car till it's at the track.
He's going to put on his William Wilson suit and go out tonight.
Exactly. Go hang out with his wife and his kid, and that's what he's going to do.
All right. Final thoughts, and don't bring up anybody who died.
Oh, no, he's talking to you about that.
I thought he was talking to you. All right.
My final thought, the Cubs game the other day, when they foul, hit the foul ball, hit the little kid.
Yeah.
Man,
that was awful.
Watching the emotion of those players, like he instantly sports and everything's matter. It's great when you see guys this guy cared. Like, he was inconsolable.
Both teams were.
Yeah. When you see that kind of stuff, that puts things in perspective. And it was just beautiful to see. They took the time out. I mean, you could just tell he just wasn't in it at all. But it was just
Kevin Tolbert,
it was amazing. Yeah, Kevin must be a White Sox guy. I really could care less about either one of them.
White Sox too.
But
so.
it was just great to see them take the time out, to see that they really cared. It wasn't like, oh, well, she'll be okay, and went about business as usual. It was great to see the humanity of sports, especially when we were talking about the beaming each other like you're talking about.
Now, that was my final thought. We're going to go baseball here because the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates have beamed each other more than any two teams in baseball this century. That's 19 years for anybody in Arkansas. The Pirates and Reds have hit each other, and Derek Dietrich hit 3 home runs Tuesday night. And he stands and he admires them, and he's maybe, and according to the old guard, the old school guys, that's breaking the unwritten rules. Major League Baseball has championed a new thing, let the kids play, with Ken Griffey Jr. You wear the hat backwards, you can celebrate. You can, if you want to dance, you want to jump around after you hit a home run, you get the fans involved, that's great. But then when some of the Pirates have took umbrage with the Reds for, quote, showboating, they threw the ball behind Derek Dietrich trying to hit him earlier in the year and started a melee. And Yasiel Puig came out, and there was a big Donnybrook that broke out on the field. Yesterday, Clay Holmes of the Pirates, first time up, the Reds' best player this year, he gets hit. Eugenio Suarez gets hit right in the hand, and the Pirates broke his thumb last year hitting him. So Major League and the manager, David Bell, the Reds, says, you know what? The umpires are going to not stand for us. The league's not going to stand for us. We're going to take matters into our own hands.
Right, and that's what happened. When you have no rule, anarchy will occur. You just have to have rules. I've always thought it was trash that if somebody hits a home run and they stares it down, whatever, you don't want it, strike him out.
And as Jeff Brantley said, the thing is, the retaliation is not going to come against the guy that danced around. They're going to get his teammate, because his teammate's going to get mad that I got hit in the ribs.
And his thing is, if I were capable of throwing a baseball 100 miles an hour and I threw it at you, I'm going to jail for attempted murder.
Well, a lot of people would be supporting you for that. All right, for Kevin Tolbert, William Wilson, I'm Kevin Casey. This has been Talking About Sports. So long for now.
At Heslop Wealth Advisors, our goal is to help small businesses develop quality retirement plans for their employees through our Lunch and Learn seminars. We provide lunch and learning tools to help your company succeed and unmatched customer service.
Welcome to Talking About Sports, the Carolina's #1 podcast for sports.
Somebody said trade Kemba Walker, but no Leezy.
And No Limit Larry. I like No Limit Larry. I think No Limit Larry ought to get some playing time.
Wow.
As Kemba goes, so go the Hornets. And that's how it was last night.
I've never wished Kevin would have won a bet more than I do right now.
Now, come on down to the Dilworth Neighborhood Grill, Talking About Sports.
Best food around.